Orlin.
Hi, Scott Orlin with CINEMA-Magazin. The movie is called The Favorite, which is apropos because this is one of my favorite actresses, Emma Stone. Growing up in Arizona, I can't even imagine how many times you dressed up in English period costumes.
Exactly, and how often I was to, share stories that happened in 1705. Because our country had not even been founded in this year, but I knew so much about it.
But talk about being enlightened by this story, because honestly, I watched the movie and I kept thinking, God, it sounds like it's rooted in a little bit of history, not realizing it's rooted in real history.
It is, but I mean, it also isn't. These were real people. Their dynamics, we believe, were relatively similar to this, but obviously this is, the dialogue is very modern, and the actual day-to-day experience of how these people relate to each other, I'm not sure that was completely historically accurate.
What I found incredibly fascinating about this movie, Emma, was its showcasing this female power at the time. That these three strong women and how manipulative they were, and especially your character using sexuality. She was so smart in maneuvering to get what she needed. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I mean, that's what I loved about her. That was why I was so drawn to her. I thought she was, the way she was consistently unfolding, and how, she's just so smart and so cunning and so intuitive. And so I just, it was such a joy to every day to kind of find these new little puzzle pieces to uncover her.
And almost like, to me, it was like a chess game between you, Rachel, and Olivia, and how it kind of worked out. What type of, I don't want to say rehearsal period did you have just to kind of get that chemistry developed?
It was, our rehearsal period was about 3 weeks, and it wasn't a typical rehearsal process at all. It was really more kind of physical or strange. And I realized in the end it was to get us all to kind of rely on each other and to feel very close and not be afraid to embarrass ourselves in front of each other, because we all kind of humiliated ourselves in the rehearsal room in front of each other, which is very helpful, because then once we were on set, it was, it felt like people that you knew and could lean on, and Yorgos just kind of would pull the puppet strings of how to make that relationship, clear.
I'm fairly familiar with most of your work. I think this is the first time you've worked with rabbits.
Yes. This is my first rabbit experience. Yes.
How are they as co-stars?
It's my rabbit period. They were, they pee a lot and they bite each other. They're very soft and adorable once you're actually holding one, but the process of trying to get to hold one when you don't know rabbits well or know how to get under there is a journey. It's a journey.
And speaking of journeys, I mean, I want to kind of go back to when you're in that period costume and learning the etiquette of that time. Did it teach you something about yourself?
Well, it taught me that I can survive without breathing. In a corset, I can survive. It's not fun, but I can do it. Now learning to curtsy, kind of understanding the etiquette of the court at that time, how conscious you had to be about absolutely everything, never turning your back to the queen, always, it showed me a lot. I mean, there were absolutely so many rules, and we now, there's still etiquette, but it's nowhere near the level of always rising to, I'm sure within the monarchy in England it is that way. But it was wild to learn all of the rules. So many rules.
Well, I think the rules are that sadly I've run out of time, so I can't ask more questions for
You've
you right now.
broken the rules.
But Emma, as always, such
Please
a pleasure.
face
Thank
me
you
as
so
you
much.
exit the room.
And this is Scott Orlin.